Alright, and good evening, everyone. Hope everybody is doing well out there. We've got severe weather coverage for right now, as we've got a severe thunderstorm warning approaching the Little Rock area. But what I also want to talk about on this stream this evening, I do want to cover kind of what's going on with the upcoming weather pattern as well. So we've got kind of the details on all of that in this live stream. I hope everybody is doing well. We'll get into it momentarily here once we get a couple of viewers, a couple more viewers kind of on the stream. But I hope everybody is doing well this evening. We'll kind of get into a little bit more of that coverage here in just a second. And we'll be talking about the upcoming pattern, what's going on right now, all those details in this stream. So go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps me out here. Alright, thank you so much for everybody who's joining me here live this evening. Alright, let's go ahead and kind of talk about what we've got going on right now. Again, we'll get into the upcoming pattern momentarily. Hit the like button for me. Really helps me out. We've got one severe thunderstorm warning this evening, and it sits over here. Moving towards the Little Rock, Arkansas area. That little box I have is actually covering up the area. This storm, here's our radar history from the last hour, and you can clearly see where we have this chain of 2 to 3 inch hail that's been making its way all the way from southwest of Mountain Pine there along U.S. Route 270, and now all the way on over towards places like Fountain Lake and just there southward. We've kind of got that big hail happening. So watching this very, very intently, this storm, for any kind of rotation, as there is a 2% risk issued by the Storm Prediction Center. Good news is that we just really don't see any kind of major rotation going on in this cell at this point. There was a little bit of some moderate rotation indicated earlier on radar. We don't have that anymore. So at this point, we're just kind of monitoring these cells closely. But really, the big concern out of this cell is that huge hail, up to 2.5 inches in diameter here. Again, hail measured at 2 inches was observed. This is, we're not talking about something just, being possible. We've had it observed in Hot Springs. So tennis ball sized hail is expected out of this storm with 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts as this treks towards the Little Rock metro area. Now, this evening, we are seeing the cell turn into a little bit more of a blob as it's fused. You can see here it was kind of its own cell with that really big pink shaded area there of, hail near Fountain Lake earlier. It's kind of merged with the cell that's been moving up Interstate 30 there. And at this point, now it's kind of one big blob of two cells that have now come together just southwest of Salem there. In Arkansas. So again, we're looking at cells in Arkansas right now. This is our lone warning at this point. And again, I don't really expect extreme amounts of warnings today, but this is kind of what we've got for the severe weather side of things at this point, and we'll get into talking about other ongoing conditions as well. I hope everybody is doing well out there. Of course, we've got a winter storm on the way as well. So drop any questions you have weather related, and we'll get to answering those in between looking and watching this radar this evening. And I anticipate to have some updates out on that winter storm tomorrow and into Sunday, and maybe even as early as later this evening on the Extra channel with a short little update as well. So I've got plenty of content on the way for you on the upcoming pattern. But we've got one active severe thunderstorm warning, again, as this cell still capable of some big hail here. Moving it's from just west of Salem, heading eastward towards the Little Rock area. That is the cell that we have our eyes on this evening at this point. So drop any questions you have in the chat. It looks like I got about 11 of you on here. Normally, these evening streams kind of slowly pick on up. So thank you to everybody who is with me already at this point. Link to Weather Bill free trial is in the description if you want that. And just if you want to see kind of what Weather Bill looks like. Here is what Weather Bill does look like. That's what it is. Really nice maps. And that is the European 500 millibar height anomaly. But let's go back on over here now to our Little Rock panel here as we kind of wait on the new scans of this cell as it heads eastward again. We can kind of take a look at the classification that the radar is picking up on here. And anything in the red there is hail. So we've got some pretty big hail, kind of sporadic and being tossed around here near Rubicon Crows down to Nance. Nancy as well. I'm down there and closer to Interstate 30 there where it meets that US 70 corridor as well. Again, we do not have any tornado warnings. We have an active severe thunderstorm warning that we're watching this evening, as that kind of makes its way through this area. In terms of what we had earlier with this, and again, I can just kind of show you what we had earlier. Yellow indicates giant hail. Okay, and if I bring this back a little bit further and we kind of take a look, you can see when this was near Fountain Lake, that's when some of this really big hail was being produced just north of Hot Springs. Hot Springs proper got in on some 2-inch hail, again, officially reported there. But radar did indicate, this is radar indications, these numbers on screen. So some 2 to 3-inch hail was definitely coming down there. Tennis ball sized hail, caliber hail, just north of Hot Springs just a little bit ago, about 15-20 minutes ago. And then at this point, as it's kind of just north and trying to eventually cross I-30 here closer to Alexander and Little Rock. We'll be watching this cell, but overall the hail is getting a little bit smaller. Just again, it's kind of fusing with that other cell, and that's kind of torn this into a couple of pieces, so to speak, at this point. High-res velocity, we can take a look right here. Again, we don't really see any kind of rotation ongoing in these cells, and that's good news as those trek across that area. And again, we don't have any other warnings elsewhere to really talk about right now. So we are just kind of sitting on this cell and kind of just seeing what's going to happen out of it. But while we do so, let's just kind of go back on over, and we'll be kind of sporadically checking in and out with this cell throughout the evening. Let's go back on over to Weather Bell here, and let's take a look kind of at what we have going on with the upcoming pattern here. We've got this system, and you can clearly see it making its way on out there over parts of the South Central Plains, or just really the South Central United States, to be honest with you, here as we make our way over the next, few days. So by the time we go to Monday afternoon, it'll be stationed over western Tennessee. But remember, a lot of the impacts head on out ahead of this storm. And really, instead of looking at this, height anomaly, this is just showing us, kind of the blues indicating low pressures, oranges indicating high pressures. Let's just kind of take a look at how this system is expected to evolve now that we're getting that closer range guidance here from the European and other models. Here we go. First of all, again, what we've got going on right now, we've got this boundary kind of left over from our system that produced that rare southern Wisconsin tornado yesterday, and that's why we've got these storms sparking up today over parts of the Mid-South, especially into Arkansas. And then notice what happens with this boundary as we head over the next several days. We've kind of got this little area of some rainfall that we'll be watching through our Saturday. It's going to be pretty messy time over a lot of the southern corridor and through our late Saturday and into our Sunday here. So we'll be watching the rainfall precipitation that'll be kind of spreading across that area. And then as we play things out with more time there, you can just see that kind of continues and lasts. That little band of rain pushes eastward into our Sunday. But what we're going to watch late Saturday and into Sunday is this area down here into South Texas, southwest Louisiana, for precipitation to eventually start getting going here. Some of that could briefly be bring a severe weather risk onto the table here into southern parts of Texas here as we make our way towards, say, again, late Saturday night and in towards our Sunday. I think it's during the day Sunday where we get kind of our main event of severe weather out of this particular storm. And you notice those darker greens moving through parts of Louisiana. This is kind of the indicative, symbol here that we do have those heavier storms moving through. And that zone that I'm circling right now is going to be our focal point for severe weather on our Sunday. Meanwhile, we've got this little band of heavy snow as we've got the polar jet dipping down like this as we make our way into that same time frame. So that'll be, the whole upcoming pattern is very kind of interesting to, kind of check on and look out for here. Somebody let me know that you can hear me. I'm getting concerned by the lack of comments in the chat. This low keeps moving northeastward while slowly strengthening. Will we have a little swath of snow move somewhere through Missouri, Illinois, Indiana? Yes. But you notice there's not much cool air. That's the only little band of that polar jet stream pulling down, so to speak. The rest of them are much tighter, and they're up here further north. Those blue lines indicating where that polar jet stream really is. And you notice how as this low treks northeastward while strengthening, we will not only get the wind potential to increase here, but we'll also get a pretty heavy band of snow. And that's going to stretch from West Virginia, but especially on up there, yes, just north of Long Island there, into southern New England, maybe through New York City, not out of the question. And we still have some details to pick out with this storm down the line. So we'll watch that snow band heading northeastward. And this is as we go late Monday and into Tuesday. Tuesday, I think this is going to be hitting Boston pretty hard in the morning hours, and then that kind of heads offshore. And we kind of reset everything. Now, if we go a little further on the euro, this is pretty far out. There is a lot of indication by the euro model that we're going to have this Arctic high, and we've seen this multiple times on multiple runs now. Dive on down out of Canada. This is cold air, everyone, dipping on down with some system as we head later on in February. And look at that. And again, we can only go 6 hours by 6 hours here on the model runs at this point. But look at that snow breaking out over here in the Carolinas, especially eastern North Carolina. That's, El Nino typical. And to be honest with you, it's something very worth watching with a Euro model solution. To see a Euro kind of showing that this far out, if we start to see that signal more than once, it's certainly, kind of worth watching, to say the least. But again, these maps are awesome. They're from Weatherbell. Definitely recommend them. There is that link in the description. And again, here's what the GFS does with this next system. Some heavier snow through kind of curling around the system. So could places like Oklahoma City get hit with some snow? Yes, you see that snow band. But again, look at where the GFS brings the heaviest snow. Over there, over parts of southeastern Pennsylvania and southern New York. That is where that heavy snow resides out of this system. Down the line. And then we continue seeing that make its way on off towards the north and east. And then again, here we go into the future. And, this is in that same window where the Euro showed that cold air dipping down. And we've got the GFS showing, a little bit of snow up there into the western Carolinas and in parts of western state of Virginia. So, to say the least, a more favorable pattern looks like it'll be in place at times throughout the rest of this month. But let's go back over now to our live severe coverage and check on that storm ongoing over there into parts of Arkansas. Again, we've had a history of some bigger hail. The radar not picking up on any hail since that 2-inch just southeast of Fountain Lake in diameter of hail. But again, even if we're getting 1-inch hail still coming down in this storm, it's a little bit of a concern this evening as this heads towards Little Rock during a still pretty active time of day on the roads. So yeah, we're still kind of waiting the storm out to see kind of what it does with time. But again, anybody drop questions down in the chat if you have them about the upcoming winter pattern. I cranked out a few videos in the last couple of days as well for you. And again, this is pretty much the one lone storm around Little Rock. There is one down here. Where is that? Near just east of Arkadelphia there. South of US 270 there. And just east of Interstate 30 in Arkansas right now. Good to see a comment in the chat. Alright, we're going back on over here to Weatherbell, and I'm going to kind of show you that cooler air that the Euro is kind of pointing at. It looks like Maryland will be split between rain and snow with both of the models. Local news is calling for all rain, though. All right, Free Roam Baltimore, thank you so much for the comment. Someone go over there and give a round of applause for the comment. I really appreciate that comment because it gives me something to kind of talk to you about. And let's head on over to Maryland here. And I know you tell me you live in Baltimore. Pretty obvious by your channel name, right? Let's head on over here to Maryland because we can zoom in that far here with the Euro. And for you in Maryland, here's what the latest Euro is showing. And man, can we even... No, we can't get quite as far out with the latest run that's trying to process right now. But if we go right now, man, that's a close call. Okay? But at this point, I do agree with probably your local channel there in a place like Baltimore, especially. Notice how that snow stays over there into kind of the northwestern quadrants of Maryland there. So just north of that northeast tip of West Virginia as well. Now, where it is snowing, it's going to be pretty heavy. The ratios aren't going to be great, of course, because this is going to be very wet snow where it does come down. I think you might get a flash of some wet snow towards the end of this event, so your local news calling it an all-rain event isn't a bad idea. But you even notice the Euro there. I mean, it doesn't even really show much of a crash in a place like Baltimore over to snowfall. Unfortunately, I know it's sad to say. But if we do take a look at the total snowfall that you get there in a place like Maryland, here's those totals. And again, most of the heaviest snow is going to be off to your north. So if you live there through parts of Maryland, the far, far northern part of Maryland on that border with PA, that's where you got like 2 inches of snow or so with a 10-to-1 ratio, and that's not even the ratio we're going to have, so probably a little less than that. It's really up there, through northeastern Pennsylvania and northern New Jersey, southern New York, all those areas where the snow is going to be more prominent. But again, it's not out of the question still to see snow as far south as Baltimore, and especially towards the closure of this event. A brief flash of that. Let's look at what the GFS has to say. Here's that snow out of the GFS, and it shows it. I mean, you could look at those pinks up there in Pennsylvania. That seems like a lot of snow to be calling for up there. Widespread foot-plus totals through a lot of PA. That seems a little atrocious. Let's look at this. Let's look at what this GFS is telling us. I mean, I'm not going to say it's 100% out of the question, but this seems a little bit, I don't know, that seems overdone. But man, that's going to hit a lot of big locations if it activates like that. I can tell you. Let's take a look over there. So this would pretty much, Philadelphia would be on the edge of maybe a half foot of snow. But man, this would bring New York City about 6 inches of snow. This scenario up there through Scranton, PA, a foot. South central New York through areas like Newburgh, Fallsburg, Poughkeepsie, areas like that about a foot, and pretty much all through Connecticut. A foot of snow. That is crazy and ridiculous that the GFS is thinking like this. A little bit funny. Let's look at what the Euro shows total-wise. And, it does show a foot-plus swath. It's just not as, extremely wide and long. Yeah, still too early to call. I really much agree with you. I very much agree with you, Free Room Baltimore. Really early to make a final call on that. But I mean, if we look at what the GFS shows, so we've got the Euro, which is a major model, not agreeing on snow in Baltimore. And I think another thing is, too, with the polar jet streak being stronger further north, it's going to be just a little bit harder for the model to kind of, not the model, the system, to really tap into the colder air as much until it's further north. And again, here's the latest Euro run coming out right now. And look at that, it doesn't even show. Now we're not even talking areas right here on that Maryland-PA border getting snow. So that's a little bit more of a northerly shift. And unfortunately, this is pretty much the furthest this run's going to go out because it's the 18Z, so it only goes 19 hours. So we're not going to get the full activation on that here. From the Euro, which is disappointing. Let's see what the GFS shows. And yeah, again, you notice a little bit better of a chance of maybe some brief wraparound snow according to the GFS. Let's look at the Canadian. Let's do that. Canadian. And Canadian's a little bit more on your side. If you can you see it, the system sinking offshore a little bit more, but even that kind of keeps it as rain. But yeah, I mean, if you want pretty good snow totals and a better, let's look at the national digital. Can we go this far out? Let's do this. Snowfall total. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. This is going to be the furthest it's going to let me go out, isn't it? Well, I'll be danged. The National Digital Forecast database didn't come up clutch this time around. But let's go to the National Blend of Models. Where is that? Here it is. So many different cool tools to work with on Weatherbell. There's the national blend of models. So if you want to look at overall kind of where the models are pinpointing the heaviest snow, and this is also going to kind of show those total outlying totals too. Yeah, if you want to get those good snow pictures going up here into Pennsylvania, northern Pennsylvania especially, I think there will be some foot plus totals. If the blend of models is showing some, totals around 6 inches there, there's going to be some foot plus totals probably there, as it looks right now. Which model's the most accurate? Euro probably high res. It's a higher resolution model, and it's going to have just overall. I use it more when you see me make my weather videos, which you might, I don't know, you might consider the weather videos. Hopefully you consider them accurate, right? Because you're watching me right now. My videos, I tend to lean on the Euro more. And again, here's what the Euro's showing, and worth watching. I don't know. What is this, 24-hour snow totals? Oh, yeah. When do you think another warm-up will happen? That's a good question. Let's do this. What are we going to here? United States. And let's go to... Have I seen the new INSO update? No, I actually haven't had time to check that this week yet. I've been kind of focusing on the current pattern and the next winter storm. But I know La Nina is coming on strong, and that's going to affect the summer pattern eventually as well. Let's go to... What are we going to do here? Oh, yeah, we're going to do European Ensemble. And we're going to give you a look at kind of the temperature anomalies here. And I mean, down the line, it looks like overall there will be some cooler than average periods dominating. I don't see any major warm-ups. I'm sure there will be one embedded in this upcoming pattern, but there's not just a huge warm-up that stands out to me, to say the least, right now. So it looks like a cooler pattern through the rest of February, but you see that one little spurt of warmer air over the central U.S. Yep. Let's go back over to the storm approaching Little Rock this evening. Good news is that this thing doesn't look like it is producing as big of hail, and you notice now the Weather Service has downgraded this to 1-inch hail. So I think this thing, once it fused with that cell that kind of pushed into it from the south, we've seen this really degrade in a pretty big way. Yeah, whereas winter been, it's been super warm. It's gonna cool back down again pretty soon, Corbin. We're looking at the temperature anomalies, or I am anyway, and it's gonna get cooler than average in a place like Indiana and Ohio. The Ohio Valley should get cooler than average probably by the end of this week. So it's going to take till the end of this week just because of the way the systems are lining up there. But let's do something here. Let's go to Climate Prediction Center. And I want to show you kind of all these outlooks. Just full on look at all of them here. And we're going to do... I've got a lot of different... Here we go. This is it. Alright. We've got it pulled up now. Here's our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Yeah, and you can hear me now. That's good. Here's the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook at this point. Again, cooler than average there over parts of the east and the southern corridor. But also notice it's warmer than average in that little pocket close to the Great Lakes and then there in the west coast. But there's no major anomalies in that 6 to 10 day range. When it comes to precipitation during that same range, Hold on tight. Here's the new graphic. Precipitation in that to that point. 6 to 10 day precipitation looks like this. Very wet along the west coast. So we've got more atmospheric river-like patterns returning back to the west by the 15th through the 19th. That's a concerning signal. And then as we head on the 3 to 4 week outlook, this is brand new. February 24th through March 8th, the southern U.S. I mean, again, if you still want that snow and you still want that, the hope for snow in the southern U.S., don't give up on it yet. But the problem is, as we head closer to spring, these below average, what says is below average is just closer to what we should be in, like earlier February, which still isn't great. For snowfall, but it does show in that week 3 through 4 outlook as well, precipitation moving along that southern corridor. But here's the outlook as we head February, March, April, and I think it speaks for itself. What do you think will happen in Johnson City, Tennessee? All right, let's head on over to this screen, and let's go back on over to the maps. Good question. Glad to see you on the stream, Michael Banks, 1230. Thanks for the comment. Let's head on over here to future radar from the Euro. And I think in a place like Johnson City, and there in eastern Tennessee, you're just going to get a rain event out of this upcoming storm system. Temperatures cooling off a little bit behind it for sure. That low track is going to go right over you. But what that means is you're kind of in a little bit of the tamer part of the system, so to speak, just because the low goes directly over you. So all you really have to worry about here is rain. The severe weather is going to stay south, probably. Overall, you might get a brief stronger storm. And you're probably going to see snow edge north of you. So if you want snow, don't expect that in Johnson City, Tennessee either, though. You might try to change over to snow at the very, very end of this system. But this is the furthest out that new Euro goes. And again, you kind of get that trend, right, of the snow and where it goes. For those of you watching right now, I have an extra channel called ONW Beyond, and this is where I'm going to be posting extra weather content. If you are interested in subscribing to that channel, I'm going to try and get you a link right now in the description. Or not in the description, in the comments. So if you go in the comments right now, I just sent you a link to the YouTube page, and it should be clickable. And you can go on over there and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So it should work. Let me know if it doesn't. And yeah, I really hope you're wrong. I agree with you. LA tours by rain waves. Tornado in Wisconsin in spring is crazy. But yeah, here's what we got going towards the summer out of these outlooks from the Climate Prediction Center. And can we do 1 month outlooks all that far? No, we can't go. Let's do the 3 month by 3 month outlooks. Here's your outlook as we go, say, April. Let's do spring, March, April, May. This is your outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. And it shows warmer than average over the northern U.S. But this stream has been going a little bit slow this evening. Not much traction. So might end the stream kind of soon, and try to work on, hopefully this evening at some point, getting out an extra channel update at that link in the description, ONW Beyond. If that doesn't work, click on the one in. If the one in the comments doesn't work, click on the one in the link in the description. Yeah, as warm as it's been in Ohio, that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah. That's going to probably wrap up the stream, I reckon. Yeah, website's unavailable. I'm sorry to have that happen, but Corbin Butler, if you click on that, if you're on the live stream here, I don't know if you're watching like YouTube on a mobile app right now. I assume you are. If you're on this live stream and you click on where it says just, where it says more, to where you can view the description. So under the title, it'll say more, and you can view the description. There should be information on what the stream is, and then below it should say ONW Beyond, and then you that should be active link in there. And if that's not an active link, then I don't know what is at this point. But yeah, I should have an extra channel update out in the next little while, couple hours. Thanks so much, everyone, for